Hey everybody, before the video starts today, we are in our brand new office space here for the Command Zone, and I wanted to give you a little bit of a tour. Let's go to the first floor offices here. And you can meet our receptionist.
Oh, hello. Many Magic the Gathering players ask the question, do you have an appointment?
I work here, Prof.
Oh, well then I suppose the question is, do you have any valid ID?
I have the SHOPIFY deck.
SHOPIFY deck. Ugh, this is degenerate. This is disgusting. Oh, Josh! Please, go right in.
Thank you.
Greetings, humans. You have entered the Command Zone, your destination for all aspects of Elder Dragon Highlander. Enjoy your stay.
I love how the sand shakes.
Yeah, it's like
and it starts to spread apart.
Yeah.
Oh, that effect is so good.
We're talking about Dune. We're singing stuff from Dune, but this is not Dune. This is the Command Zone podcast. What's up, everyone? I'm one of your hosts, Jimmy Wong, for just a short bit, actually.
How's it? It's Josh Lee Kwai. Yeah, this is a special episode, a unique one. I guess, Prof, this happens sometimes. Prof happened to be in town for something else, and he came by our new studio.
Yeah, to get a tour, check it out. We just moved in here a few months back.
Yeah, this is a couple of weeks ago, and in typical Prof fashion, we were having a conversation, and we looked at each other. We were like, we should turn on the mics, and we should just do this, because I think people would be interested in hearing it, because we haven't really we hadn't figured out a way to show off the new place, to really talk about how we got in here.
And it's been a process.
Yeah.
A couple of years almost now.
A large process. It was stormy too. It was rocky. It wasn't the easiest thing. Some mistakes were made. And, we're in here now, and that's good. But I think it was nice to have this conversation we're about to have, or I'm about to have, with Prof, to sort of talk about some of that stuff. So if you're interested in how the sausage gets made, looking behind the curtain, whatever other metaphor you can come up with for, kind of like what goes on that we don't, isn't the podcast, isn't Extra Turns, isn't Game Nights, goes on behind the camera.
Yeah, it's a very candid conversation too, if you're interested in that. Just a lot of like, hey, what is happening and how is it going down?
Yeah,
stuff that we don't really share that often.
Yeah, and also about how Prof's channel works and things like that. These are conversations that me, you, Prof, people in the our business have often, but not in front of the camera like this. So
one conversation that me, you, and Prof do have, though, is talking about our sponsors.
That's right.
Cardgame.com/command in this case. You make sure you use that affiliate link if you want to support this show. But it's a place to get all of your cards, single, sealed product, and more. Pre-order some of the amazing stuff coming out soon because you want to play it. I know I want to play cards in the new office all the time. So getting those cards in one convenient package so I can sleeve up that brand new deck I just made or whatever it is, cardkingdom.com/command is the place to go. They also have an incredible buy list. If you aren't looking to trade in old cards that you don't even look at or even know you have anymore and get new ones in return, Card Kingdom's buy list is the place to do so. It's a super convenient and easy way to get more value out of your cards and get the cards that you need for your brand new deck, sleeve it up, and of course you're supporting this show as well as this podcast, this studio, this office, episodes like this at cardkingdom.com/command.
And of course, once you get those new cards, you want to protect them. ULTRAPRO is the game accessories company that Jimmy and I trust our own collections to. And all of the stuff here at the Command Zone is actually in Apex or Eclipse sleeves. They're in Satin Tower or Mythic Archive deck boxes. We have a ton of cards that we want to keep protected because they got to look good on camera. And so ULTRAPRO is the only ones we trust to make sure that our battlefield always looks awesome. And of course, they have all the licensing agreements. So they have the Karlov Manor art. They have the Fallout artwork.
Thunder Junction.
I'm sure they're going to have all of that stuff. So
Bloomborough.
Oh, man. Bloomborough artwork is so cool.
Yeah.
If you want playmats, sleeves, deck boxes, wall scrolls, stuff like that, binders adorned with your favorite set or your favorite guild logo.
Or your favorite color.
Yeah, color coordinated. ULTRAPRO.com/command is the best place to go to sort of deck out your deck and make your battlefield look awesome. So again, ULTRAPRO.com/command.
And the best way to support the show is directly, because that is what makes this happen. That's how the sausage gets made. Patreon.com/command zone. We love our patrons. They are a huge reason that we are here today. And you can join our thriving community on Discord when you join our our Patreon. Interact with Josh, myself, the rest of the office on the Discord. Ask us questions, join that community there. But also you get access to stuff like extra turns and game nights earlier than the general public, ad-free. So anytime a brand new episode's come out, our patrons have already seen it. They've commented on it. They've had their discussions about it. They know it's coming down the line. They're probably also ready to comment on the real video with they're like, I've been formulating this comment. And it's going to be the top voted one. So make sure you check that stuff out at patreon.com/command zone. Again, that is directly supporting the channel and really helping everything at this office happen.
Okay, without further ado, let's get into my conversation with the professor.
Let's do it.
Hey, everybody. This is going to be kind of an interesting video. We're here with Prof.
How's it?
How's it? That was great, by the way.
Thank you.
And we're in our new studio, and we haven't really taken the time or figured out how to show it off to everybody yet. And, of course, you're here, Prof, and showing it to you, and we're having conversations. And as we know, this happens all the time with us. We're like, we should turn on
the microphones
and talk. Yeah.
It's wild. I just got through seeing it, and it's absolutely mind-blowing. You're a long way not only from the audio-only days of the Command Zone. Leave a comment if you were listening before there was even video for the Command Zone, but you're a long way from the McMansion that was your office space for how long? How long were you in that house?
Almost 6 years.
Almost 6 years.
Yeah.
I just walked around and was able to congratulate certain people here at the Command Zone from no longer having their desk be in a living room next to the espresso machine in the kitchen.
Next to the fireplace.
Yeah. And it's like, you've got an office with a door. Amazing, fancy, moving up in the world. 6 years you were in that place?
Yeah, 6 years. Long time. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't even know we were in a house, the whole time.
The Game Nights set was literally in the master bedroom. So these beautiful Game Night set was in what someone was supposed to be using as their bedroom. You had a camera hanging from the ceiling fan at one point.
Yeah, I mean, it was when we took down the set, it was crazy because we hadn't seen that room as a bedroom for almost 6 years. And it's amazing to think that at some point in the future, someone's going to put a bed in here. They're going to be sleeping in here. They'll never know that we played Magic with the Professor and Post Malone and Aaron from Game Grumps in here. They'll never know that the blue.
They'll just be sleeping.
Yeah, it's just a bedroom.
That's a weird thought.
It's just a bedroom.
I would. There was the main bathroom was down the hall, but where the set wall was, there was a door into the master bedroom's bathroom, and that's where I would always like to sneak into in between things to freshen up. And literally at some points, the shower in there, which was probably never once used in 6 years, there was piles of this crap.
Yeah.
It's just I'm like, oh, it's the Commander Precon from 4.5 years ago, just sitting in the shower.
The shower got turned into storage.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you say McMansion, it was a large house. I think it was 3,500 square feet.
I think McMansion is a fair. That was the railing was a little, had that wobble. I think McMansion is fair. I'm not trying to
Which
diss
is a late 90s mansion.
But it was definitely one of those
Yeah, and we turned all the bedrooms into edit bays, so there would be 3 or 4 people in what would be a bedroom, with their workstations and everything. And the big problem we ran into and started, one of the big reasons we wanted, we were like, we got to move eventually. We started running out of room to put computers and workstations, but also houses aren't really set up bathroom-wise for that amount of people.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the bathrooms, there was a Jack and Jill bathroom. Well, nobody wants to use the bathroom that's, flanked on both sides by offices with 4 people working in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was really only 2 bathrooms that were usable, and like you said, one was next to the game night set. So if we were filming anything, there was one for 20 people. It was that kind of stuff. Parking was another big reason.
I don't think anyone used that one next except me. I think that was my private bathroom when I would
when
film.
No one was filming, we would use it.
Yeah,
all the
would
time.
you? Okay. It did not look used. Yeah. It looked like I was going into the, what do they call that? The back end spaces or something.
right.
Yeah, of that. But you literally at the end there, I would come over. So I've been coming on over to film content with you for all those years.
Yep.
And originally it was just oh, this bedroom is now such and such's office. And then this bedroom is such and such and such and such and such and such's office.
Right.
And then it's oh, let me introduce you to this person. Their office is a desk in the hallway or just adjacent to the kitchen, just out in this space. You ran out of rooms.
Yeah.
How big is your staff?
It's almost 20 now. So
Many people.
Yeah. So, and yeah, we had wires everywhere because after a while, you're just like running wires along the ground. Then you have to run it from upstairs to downstairs. And it's just like, drop it down the wall, tape it along the thing all the way to what would be like, the dining area that got turned into the 3 workstations or whatever. Yeah. So it's pretty crazy, the journey from there to here. I'm sure you've seen, as we're talking about it on YouTube, all the pictures of the old place. And the new place is like night and day from that.
Well, you're actually in a professional space now. This is not a converted residential I'm sorry, I'm just going to say McMansion.
Yeah, that's fine.
It really describes, it paints, in case you're not using enough footage for our viewers at home to really see what this place was. I feel the term McMansion paints a perfect picture of that building. And I'm not saying that to diss it. It's just what it was. It's LA. You got a lot of those out here.
Yeah, sure.
But you're in a professional space now. This is like game nights and extra turns can actually be filmed on a set, not just a bedroom that has set walls around it, but you can put lighting where you want to put lighting. You've got a high-rise ceiling that allows for those placements. It's probably going to open up a lot of new possibilities for what you can do in terms of quality. And considering you're already number one, I would think most people would agree in terms of production quality. It's amazing where you might be going next.
Yeah, I think that's, those were the 2 big reasons we wanted to move. One was a need because, we couldn't continue to grow where we were. So we were just kind of capped out. And it was like, well, are we going to be okay just staying at this size? And we're a little cramped as it is and never being able to sort of grow. And, I think if you think about that for 5 seconds, you're like, well, we want to have the ability if we want to or need to. But the other was, expansion of vision, right? Like the expansion of capabilities so that it's like, oh, we can envision more because we have the ability to pull off more, right? Like, so we have a bigger studio space now. And like you said, just having that available allows you to be like, well, we've got this.
Yeah.
We could do X and Y. Whereas before it's like, we have to constrain our ideas to just what is reasonable within the space we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was another big reason, was like, okay, let's get into a space that allows us room to grow and not just grow, from a people staffing standpoint, but also from the standpoint of the vision and the, just the cool things that we hopefully can come up with.
How long of a process was this?
Yeah.
So listen, I don't we chatted a little bit about this, and I don't know if you're comfortable talking about this.
Yeah.
We can edit it out or whatever. But I'm going to be the same way I'm saying. All right, you made a big mistake.
Yeah.
And you messed up.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you want to share the ramifications of that mess up, because it was something that I think potentially put things in jeopardy in some ways, or it certainly cost you a lot. You were trying to grow as you do. Well, is this okay to talk about, first of all?
Yeah, I think so. I think
this is not the first warehouse, is the thing. This is the first successful warehouse.
Successful.
Let's talk about the lawsuit. No, or like, what do you feel comfortable talking about?
Okay, so I guess it's if we frame this as like, hey, learn from our mistakes, maybe there's people out there that this could help you.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to be learned there, and obviously if we went through this process again, it would be informed by all the stuff that we or I did wrong on the way to here. But yeah, it was rocky, and it's this is my first business. I know Tolarian, TCC is your first business.
I'm a creative writing major. I shouldn't be running a business. Yeah. I'm up to 4 employees.
Yeah.
I'm command zone at
home. Do you
feel?
I feel like I'm constantly like just sort of fumbling my way forward, and
I don't look at you as a fumbler. I look to you. You really are like my like hero. I legitimately, for both in terms of advice on how to manage money, which is funny because we're about to talk about you mismanaging money and a critical fail that is I don't know how comfortable you're even talking about, but I learned how to manage money from you to a point that I was able to hire people. I've got 4 employees now, and that is purely because I have looked at what you are doing, and I've tried to learn from it and not copy it. I'm doing my own thing.
Yep.
But we talk, and I take your advice, and you guided me into how to actually be able to create this business, which I did, which I don't have business sense. And you're a shrewd. Well, yeah. I mean, I always like it when I do have a thing, and you go, "That's good. I like that," and I get to give back a little bit.
No, but because I don't want to misconstrue. I'm flattered that you say that about me, and I hope I've been helpful to you over the years. And I think there's some stuff I've learned and that I feel confident that I sort of know or that I have a good perspective on. And, when I can share that, I hope that it helps you. And I think you give back in the same way to me when we have our conversations. I've learned a lot from you over the years, and you change my thinking all the time on stuff. So I think it's been symbiotic.
Yeah.
But I don't want to give the impression that I am somehow some sort of master of business that hasn't made mistakes. I would only tell you stuff that I feel pretty firm about because I've probably messed it up to get to where I am, right?
You're a master of some aspects of business.
There you go.
Editing, creation, content, quality. And also, by the way, one of the big things, really early on, we did a show together called In Response, which was a debate show. And at the time, you had just barely started appearing on camera.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to hang out with you. But I also really envisioned the show as getting your face out there because everyone knew Jimmy. Right. And I'm going to, again, you edit this out if it's too much, but I got upset because Jimmy was getting invited to stuff and you weren't.
Right.
And I felt like it was like Jimmy and co-host. And I was like, nuts to that. I want people to know how cool Josh is. And it's like visually, they're audio only. I want to get his picture out there. And so we came up with this show, but you had this vision of sports night, but Magic the Gathering debate. And you wanted all these overlays and templates I didn't know how to do. You said, I'll do it. And you're like, but I'm going to be working. And I started to say, well, you're working. And I remember the phone conversation. I said, you're working, but we're going to be showing you on the channel. And you go, don't do it, Prof. Don't say you're going to pay me an exposure. And I said, I wasn't going to say that, but I was probably going to downplay. And you said, it's important that if someone is working for you, that they get paid for that effort. And that was an early thing you instilled in me. And in my very first collaborations with cosplayers, the first thing I said to them was, and of course, let me know if you have a fee. And if they don't, here's what we've paid in the past. And I'm very proud of the fact that and this was like, In Response was like year 2. And that was like one of the first big collabs. And when I moved out into other things, I always took, this guy here believes so passionately in people getting paid for their work. Sometimes to his detriment, I would say, as we're about to get into with some of the grandiose plans. But like the fact that I'm really proud of everyone you see me working with is always taken care of to the best of my ability. And that is that philosophy that I also learned from you. And so you are a teacher, not just in content quality, which is a big one, but also in the ethics of that content creator community and things like that. And that's, again, a huge lead and a huge inspiration for me. If you're going to be, working and having other people help you in that work, you make sure, so I have people come to me and they say, oh, I'll do this art for free. Yeah. I'm like, no, you'll do this art and get paid.
Yeah.
And that's what I also was, you took me aside at an early day and taught me that and everything.
Well, yeah, but I think it speaks to your own integrity, which we know Prof has a ton of, right? Like just in all aspects of what you do, that it wasn't a convincing thing. It was literally like,
it wasn't like you. It wasn't like I was like not paying people, and you're like, listen, man, we got to talk.
We just had that one conversation, and you went, "This is a thing I should do," and it fit in with but there'd be a lot of people, and we've both dealt with these people who would push back and then just not talk to you, and that's it. And they would continue to try and not pay people. They wouldn't take that lesson as a lesson.
Yeah.
They would just say, oh, let's just silo that off over here and not deal with that person because they're problematic. And I'm just going to continue to operate in the way I would operate. So, yeah, I just have a ton of respect for you and your own integrity. And I think that's really a story about you and like the fact that you have so much integrity that like it caused you to just add that to your list of things, right? So I think that's a really good it's a really good trait, and not enough people have it. The ability, not integrity specifically, although that is a good one, but the ability to have something happen and then have enough, self-awareness to add that to like, oh, this is now going to become an important thing because I've been exposed to that way of thinking.
Yeah.
And, I think you exposed me to all kinds of way of thinking. And what I think you're really, really, really good at is you have a really good beat on the audience and the people and the way to present things to them, which I'm sometimes not as good at. I struggle with like, well, how do I talk to our audience in the way I'm always jealous of you. I'm like, man, Prof has this connection with his audience that he can just lay his heart on the table. And I've never been a lay my heart on the table in that way type of guy.
Yeah.
So
let's do that
we
here.
continue-
I want you now. Now let's lay your heart. Josh messed up and lost a lot of money.
Let's get back to it.
Josh proved that he is human. What did you do?
Okay, so
And what should people never ever do?
there's so much to learn from it. And I think, sure, let's talk about it. So it was about 2 years ago that we made the decision, and it is but it is really on me. All of this is on me, right? Like, because, I make the majority of the decisions for the Command Zone. Jimmy is a partner in the endeavor, but day to day, I'm the CEO, and I make most of the changes. And now we talk about things, but for the most part, I can say we're going to do this, we're going to do that. So I just want to make that clear from the beginning that all these mistakes are ultimately mine.
Wow, what a gentleman you are, that you're making sure that only you go under the bus and not Jimmy.
Yep. He, maybe Jimmy at some point could have been like, actually, if he knew, but he didn't. Exactly. He's in the same boat as me in that. As I started first business, right? Don't know a lot of things. So we come to the determination that like we can't stay in the house forever. We have kind of capped out what we can do. And if we want to continue to be able to have greater vision and deliver cooler content, and, a lot of this is about what we deliver to the audience, but let's be honest, a lot of it is just about creative fulfillment, right? Like, I know you're this way, I'm this way. We make a thing, we look at it, we're like, that was cool. That felt good to make. I like watching it. I feel good that I was, one of the people involved in making that thing.
Yeah.
And making the same thing the second time has a it's like jumping out of airplane the second time. You still get an adrenaline rush, but by the 30th time, you're getting a lot less of the adrenaline rush. And so what you start doing is trying to chase that rush. And one of the ways that you chase it is bigger, grander, trying things you haven't tried. Oh, I'm going to try. You started out and you were doing product review stuff for the most part.
Yeah.
And then you started doing some comedy sketches in there, right? Like,
yeah.
Well, why didn't you just keep doing product reviews forever?
Yeah, I mean, well, because I wanted to do more. I wanted to see what I could do. My first product reviews didn't even have me in it. It was just my hands.
Yeah.
And then it was like, well, I wanted to go to that next level, add the camera. And then I wanted to get a microphone where if you listen to my old videos, people think my voice changed. No, my microphone changed because I started on a $40 Snowball Yeti. And I guess the question is, some people watching this might not understand, isn't that $40 Snowball Yeti enough? And I'm like, no, I want a better microphone, and I want a camera and then a better camera. And eventually I want someone else who has skills and talents, not just to give me a little bit of relief and not have to do 100% of everything myself, but to be able to do things, to go in new directions.
Yeah, to be like, we can, you have a cool skit with Teferi. What if Teferi did some magic?
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know how to do the effects. Well, we can handle that part. And then, what if we had, blah, blah, blah. What if we shot it here? What if we went on location? And you start going, that would be fun and exciting and something that I haven't done before. And the only way we get up in the morning day after day for almost a decade now and continue to do this is if we continue to chase that rush, right? Yeah, and I think that's what people don't get about artists and creative people in general. Like, they get mad when their favorite, band comes out with an album that sounds a little different than the past album. Why not just make the same music that your audience loves? And it's like, well, because it's hard to keep getting excited to make that music because you already did it. You want to explore what's over the next mountain, what's across, what's past the next hill.
There's a drive to create and to innovate. And I know that was a big one. If you go back, and I think I've said this on other episodes that I've been on recently, but I'm still going to bring it up because it stuck with me, is that if you go back to the very first time I went on Command Zone, audio only, towards the end of that episode, you should go look it up if you're watching this and
pretty
listen.
Early.
It's very early. And at the end of it, you and Jimmy both start talking about, God, we spend all of our time talking about doing this high quality gameplay series for Magic. We love Magic the Gathering. We love watching GP coverage, but it's such shaky quality, let us say. And it could be so much better. And we're here in Hollywood, and we know how we can create something that will blow people's minds, and we want to. And I said, you can't do it. I said, it can't be done. I know what you're talking about, but how could you possibly do it? And both of you said, no, we can do it. We know we can do it. It would cost a lot of money is the thing. So how do we get that? And at the time, you probably didn't even have, I don't know if I had my Patreon yet, let alone you guys.
We literally weren't making a dime.
Wasn't that.
Yeah. There was no ads, no sponsors.
Yeah. And YouTube ad revenue is pennies and such. So it's like how are you, and you say it in there, you have this vision and you figured out how to get there. And I think a lot of people don't realize how much things like, the Patreon, doesn't go in your pocket. It goes into this machine. You just told me you have 20 people. I've got 4. That's what that goes to have when, it's easy to lob the jokes at you guys about all the sponsored content, and I'm getting there a little bit. You taught me a little bit of that. And this is the guy who convinced me to do ad integrations.
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah. No, don't be sorry. I've got 4 people have a paycheck now.
I think you're by the way, congratulations, because I think your last 18 months, especially your last year, has been insane.
I've been probably the happiest I've been in half a decade.
The happiest, and your content's the best it's ever been, and your audience growth is the best it's ever been. Your views are the highest they've ever been. your trajectory, you can watch it, just boom, right? And it coincides with the happiest, dude. That is the freaking best. I almost said a word I'm not supposed to say. How great is that? And the ads and the sponsorship are what did it. And everybody can complain about that stuff, but that allowed you to not only increase your vision, also decrease the amount of 80-hour weeks you have to work while simultaneously making you be able to achieve more. See, and that is what I call a win for everybody, because, there's an ad that you've got to skip once in a while, or maybe it's even for a product that you might like, but that is a pretty low bar. Everything we watch is gated in some way that's professional, that's high level. So, I just want to throw that in there. Congratulations for your last year, but
Thank you. And that's also why everything behind us is for sale on Whatnot. Make sure you tune in to the Command Zone's next Whatnot stream, where everything back here is being sold personally by Josh.
Some of this stuff is not even real.
That's a great box. Wait, that's not real?
There's not a. That
is.
one might be real. Some are empty.
Prosper the Tomebound. Isn't this a great Commander? It actually is. This is actually one of the better precons ever made.
We got lucky that this one's not opened, but a lot of times we take the deck out, use it in content, and tape it back up for set dressing.
Holy hell, I never even knew that.
You don't do that?
Frauds. Wow. Set dressing. But but that is something I talk about on my, and this actually is not an ad, but it is when I'm on Whatnot, I cleared out, I have to review a product, and I like to get 2 sets of every product Wizards of the Coast makes. And I don't get sent it either. I have to buy it with money.
Which is crazy.
That's where it goes. But it's so that we can test it, we play with it, and then in the video, we use it and shoot with it and have those copies. And then we sometimes will resell them to recoup that cost. But a lot of times it goes in the closet. We use a set dressing, and I emptied out a couple of my closets on a Whatnot stream, and people are saying, wow, this is adding up. And where's this going? I'm going, we bought this. This is going into the coffers of TCC so that we can buy the next batch and so that we can pay our people. Not just that, they're safe. It isn't like, buy this or they're in trouble. It's not like that, but it goes into this, it's this machine. And it goes into it, and you built this machine, and it was building up, and you needed to take the step to the next level. And everyone right now is saying, get to the fireworks factory, get to the
mess up,
get to the mess up, get to Josh Lee.
I keep delaying it.
And you took this
I derailed
machine, this beautiful machine you spent a decade building, and then you thought, well, what happens if you throw a wrench in it? And what did you do, Josh? You signed a bad contract.
Yeah, so we started 2 years ago looking for a location, and we looked around for a long time. We found one we thought we liked, and we got involved in the process of leasing it and starting to move in and everything. And we decided we wanted to back out because there was some stuff we didn't know about. The landlord started acting kind of funky. I won't get into a ton of the details, but
you signed a big lease.
We signed a decent-sized lease, but there was a point at which I was like, with all the new information coming to light in the middle of this, and we haven't moved in there yet, and I was like, I think we got to figure out a way to back out of
it was okay. So you're being very reluctant here. Is it okay for me to say a really good lesson is to make sure before you sign a giant multi-year lease on a giant property that like things are up to code. That would be your responsibility. Yes. That things like proper building inspection is done prior to signing the lease.
Yep. I think that's probably true.
Yeah, that's probably true. And
we missed some stuff. We probably should have spent more money vetting the property. You know, I've only rented apartments and like houses before this, right? And so it's just a process, the due diligence of which I don't think I was at the level that's required for, you know, what we're talking about. So yeah, we backed out. There's a lawsuit as far as like us trying to recoup some of the money because the person
signed a lease with you and did not disclose the building was in that state.
Yes, exactly. And so anyway, we're still in the midst of a lot of that stuff.
I don't know if that's like they're not going to find who this is. Like this isn't going to be like something you bleep.
Yeah.
But like the thing is that you're in this position. You got 20 or so people whose livelihoods are the command zone. You are looking to expand the command zone, to expand those people. You want to grow. You want to make this machine burn even brighter so that more people can come in and you can both create and do all of this. And then you're in this position where you have committed to a property that you can't move into, but you're committed to it. It's got a thing you're paying or you're trying not to, but like this. How were you, like you said, I was the happiest. This is the happiest I've seen you because there was a while there where I was coming over here. I was like, Josh, you don't look so good. And you're like, I don't feel so good, you know?
Yeah.
Stressful time.
Yeah. So the last few years have been pretty stressful. So we were embroiled in that and we extract ourselves from it. Like I said, there's still some legal stuff hanging over, but in general, like it's mostly been resolved. But still we're in the same position, right? Like It's like, okay, well, a bunch of money lost in this mistake, but we're not anywhere different. We're still in the house. We still got to get out of here. Otherwise, we're still stagnant. We can't grow. So we start looking around again, which takes another X amount of time. We find what is going to end up being this building. And, you know, we go through the process. And this one, we do our due diligence. And we actually, you know, make sure that it's in the shape that it says and everything. We sign the lease. And we've hired an architect. Mm-hmm. We want to make some changes to this building. And at that time, it's estimated from, you know, all the people we talked to that we're in Burbank. The city of Burbank takes somewhere between 6 to 12 weeks to to approve, you know, plans such as ours so that we can get the permits needed to actually get the work done. And some of the stuff we can start, anybody who's in construction knows you can do demo stuff, which we do. We do the demo stuff and we wait for the city to approve the permits.
Right.
And it's 6 weeks and we're waiting. And it's 12 weeks, which was the top end of what they said, and it's waiting. And it's 3 months, right? That's 12 weeks. Now we're at 5 months and we're waiting. Now we're at 8 months and we're waiting. And finally, about the 9th month.
You're paying rent on 2 properties at that point.
Yeah, we're paying rent on this property. We're paying rent at another. At about 9 months or 10 months, is when the permits finally get approved, which means we can now start the work. It's not like we can move in.
Yeah.
So now we've got the contractor lined up and everything. So from that point, it actually goes pretty quickly. That ended up being, I think it's the beginning of August, September. Yeah. And from that point, it's about 3.5 months of work to get to the point we're at. And we probably splice in some images of it as we've been talking, but you know, we're talking about adding walls. We've refloored. We've resealinged. We've, you know,
it's not a turnkey. I think a lot of people at home might be like, oh, well, you leased the proper place. Can't you just move in? And it's like, no, the proper place is scaffolding. And I got a tour early on and you were concerned about me moving. Like, you're like, don't wander off because flooring is missing.
Yeah.
And like there's an upstairs and you're like, let's go up together carefully because this place needs to be made into a finished, it's not turnkey. You need walls to go up, floors to be put in, paint to be put on. It's a process and it's not cheap.
Yeah, and we have specific needs as a YouTube channel and sort of a production studio. You know, it's got to be wired a certain way so that all the computers can be connected to the server. You need a certain amount of AC units because, the VFX guys have these computers that are insane. They're like space heaters.
Yeah.
And then, we have soundproofing that needs to happen in certain areas. You need enough power for lights and things. Like, that's just it's not normal business stuff. So, yeah, we do all this work. It's beautiful, but it takes X amount of time. And the whole time, basically the project takes, if you start from 2 years ago and the first snafu with the other warehouse and the lawsuit and all that, and then to the second thing, it's 2 years for a thing I thought was going to take 9 months.
Yeah.
It's a little over 2 years, actually. It's like 26 months or something. So we get over here, and this project has just... And I will say, too, also, like, never having done this before, I think we were a little too ambitious with what we decided to do with this building. Like, I love this building now that we're in it. It looks great.
It's amazing.
But I look around and I'm like, this is the building we should have probably moved into after. There should have been a building in between the house
You
and
skipped
this
the building.
one. Yeah.
You skipped the turnkey office place, the place that used to be like a dentist's office or something like that.
And it has enough office space for a few more people to fit in, and it's better than the house, but it's not like, 4 times the size of the house,
The house wasn't working. I mean, I could see that.
We needed something twice as big as the house.
I'm in a house.
Yeah. And we're in something now that's like 4 times as big as the house. And I think I'm always saying, I preach to our team, and it's part of our culture here, like to be bold. Like, I want our ideas to be bold.
Yeah.
I want boldness to be like, let's just think of cool stuff and try and pull off. When we were like, we're gonna do the Lord of the Rings thing, and Jake was like, we should do forced perspective so you guys all look like hobbits. And we were like, that would be so awesome. Can we do that? And we thought through the process and figured out how to do it. And that's a bold thing. I think it would have been very easy to be like, that's too hard, we're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's creatively a great trait to have. And then in this instance, I think it was not a great trait as a business owner necessarily to have in this instance. I do like being bold for decisions.
I think if you hadn't messed up with that first property, it wouldn't have hurt as bad as it did, because that's just you lost, like, that's just cash and time, which sucks. And also, to be clear, like, you're not in any trouble. This isn't like you're in trouble, we bit off more than we can chew. It just was a big stumble sort of thing.
Yeah, it's not like, hey, the command zone is going to go under, but it is.
No.
It's definitely made it tight.
Yeah.
It's definitely made it like we have to worry about budgets and things more than we used to have to. There's been things where we're like, right now, it probably just isn't smart to spend that amount on a thing. So I think that's temporary. Obviously, we land here. We're not paying on 2 buildings. We can get back in the swing of things. But yeah, it's just, the reality is, yes, there was mistakes made. Another thing I've learned since doing this is I think we could have negotiated with the landlord here to get some sort of rent abatement for some of the time when the permits and everything were being we probably could have gotten that concession before we signed the lease originally. That was a negotiation thing that I didn't know about. This is not exactly a mistake, but sort of. That's a thing that I've learned, and if I ever did it again, I think I could save a significant amount of money by that kind of thing. So there's a little lesson to you people out there who are moving to a new building. If you're going to make changes to it, talk to the landlord about rent abatement, and maybe you can be like, hey, I'm going to add some value to your property. Maybe you can charge me half for 3 months or something. Yeah,
I think it's from a viewer perspective too, not just taking good lessons. And if you're ever renting a large scale warehouse, but from the viewer perspective, that is what you should think about when you see things like the ad integrations, like the Patreon call, like things like when you're doing, you guys do really cool playmats and sleeves, and you do these Kickstarters, and it's like, well, where is that money going? And it's like, that's what it's going into. Not to mention the equipment and this stuff. I mean, how often do things need replacing? Like you said, the computers, like we have, our computers are probably nothing compared to yours, but we're way past the point of having out of the box, Dell editing PCs. We have to have a special build, made so that it can handle a lot of the stuff that we want to do. And that is where that goes. And so sometimes somebody might be like, well, why am I buying a pack of sleeves from Command Zone? Well, it's because you love Command Zone, and what is the cost to you is sitting through 90 seconds of ads, even 2 minutes of ads, and then there's an hour and a half of the top quality content that you hopefully are enjoying, and the fact that you are continuing to innovate. You don't just have game nights, you have extra turns, which hipster Commander players can point to and be like, no, actually, I prefer extra turns. It's a more authentic Commander experience. And it's like, I think it's cool that both exist.
Right.
That's my perspective. I'm like, how cool is it that you can get two wildly different high-end productions like that, as well as content like this, and what, you sit through a couple ads? Are you running an ad on this episode? You better run an ad on this episode.
Probably.
We're giving away a guest spot on Extra Turns.
All right, well, pace yourself, Jimmy.
Well, I just want to make sure people know. Obviously, our fans would never skip our well-written, expertly crafted mid-roll spots, but you just can't be too sure.
Yeah, what Jimmy just screamed? It is absolutely correct, everyone. We are partnering with Whatnot to give one lucky fan the chance to appear on Extra Turns.
We've given a lot of cool stuff away on Whatnot, but this is by far the coolest. So for your chance at glory, join us live on March 27th at 1 p.m. Pacific. If you win, we'll fly you out to LA and you'll get to meet the whole Command Zone team.
It really is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to come hang out and get to know the people behind the content that you love.
And then, of course, there's the main event, where you get to show off your favorite deck to all of Magic Internet.
While we crush you on Extra Turns.
Josh,
What? I'm not going to go easy. They got to bring their A game.
you've been warned, everyone.
But that's not the only exciting thing about this stream. As we unpack our new office, we managed to scrounge together just one more round of Game Night's mystery boxes.
These things are full of awesome merch like the Nemesis playmats. And you'll want to nab one quick because the last couple of times we had them, they sold out in minutes.
Yeah, we really put everything we had into these. This is literally all we've got left, so it might be your last chance to pick up this stuff.
So if you want to get a mystery box or a chance to be on Extra Turns, make sure you go to whatnot.com/invite/command to sign up, and you'll even get $15 free to use anywhere on the platform.
That's whatnot.com/invite/command. Get those $15 of free value, and then join us on March 27th for a chance to be on Extra Turns.
We'll see you there.
All right, I will untap. I'll draw a card.
Hey, have you guys seen Jimmy in the past 2 weeks?
I think he left with a big backpack and said he had important company business.
Oh, bad news, guys. I went door to door in Burbank and sold almost no Command Zone merch.
Why would you do that? We already sell stuff super easily on Shopify.
Oh, yeah.
Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Whether you're working out of your friend's apartment or from a full office suite, Shopify is there to help you grow. I mean, you remember, when we started the podcast, we weren't even thinking about merch. But when fans started asking for it, Shopify made it easy. They handled the selling so we could focus on the content. There's a reason Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US. They've got great customer service, useful tools for your business, and the internet's best converting checkout system. So you never have any trouble turning browsers into buyers.
Man, that's way better than what I was doing.
Wait, did you actually sell anything?
No, but I did see Timothy Chalamet at the gas station. Oh. He didn't see me.
Sneaky Timmy.
Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/TCZ, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/TCZ now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/TCZ.
Hey, psst, over here. It's me, Tunnel Tipster. You want to save some dough this year, right? I got a hot tip for you. If you switch to Mint Mobile, you can get a wireless plan for just $15 a month. Big wireless? Those guys are suspect. They don't want you to know about this. But with Mint Mobile, you can have a 3, 6, or 12-month plan. Then you ain't got to worry about monthly phone bills at all. That way, you can get up to your heart's content with unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network of informants. I did a little digging, and I found out you can even keep your old phone, all your numbers, contacts, the whole shebang, which is great unless you're trying to be in disguise, in which case, get a new number, I guess. So switch to Mint Mobile and get your first 3 months of Primo Wireless for just $15 a month. But if anyone asks, you didn't hear it from me. I'm just a cute little mole. I don't know nothing. Tell them it was Ryan Reynolds or something.
To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/command. That's mintmobile.com/command. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/command. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
And then I'm going to flash out Illusory Ambusher. I will bolt it to draw 3 cards. I will sneak attack out Triskaidekaphile. I'm going to go to my upkeep, and I will win the game.
That was your first time playing the deck?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first time in paper. I've already goldfished it like 100 times on ARCHIDEKT. Their playtester is super user-friendly. Playing cards just takes 1 click, and you can mulligan, tutor, and move through your turns with the press of a key. There are simple menus with counters and copies, and you can take notes on cards as you play them.
ARCHIDEKT is the best place to browse, brew, and playtest Commander decks. Just go to archidekt.com/command-zone to get started.
That's ARCHIDEKT.com/command zone. The ads are interesting. we have a philosophy. I know you have a certain, like, you won't run more than one, right? Like you.
Yeah, no. So and that's the other thing. We don't do ads in. You do ads in every episode.
If it's a video, yeah,
if you can. I don't, and I have the way I look at it is I have two piles of content, and I have what I think of as my prestige content that actually is where I don't like to put the ads on.
What's an example of that?
Prestige content is typically the gameplay series, obviously, though that's also the most expensive thing, as you know. But like I'm
surprised because that's the one you got to fly people there, you got to pay the people. Like I know gameplay, and it's expensive.
We did the Kickstarter.
It takes the most amount of editing.
I did the Kickstarter for season 2, and I literally calculated. I was like, this is what I would need in ad revenue. And I just was like, if we hit that goal, then I get it from you and not the ad revenue. And we exceeded it. And so I got to call up everybody for season 2, especially people who had been on season 1, and we had back. And I do a flat rate.
Yeah.
And I got to say, guess what? I'm increasing your appearance fee. I didn't keep any of that money. It went into, we spent it. And then I was like, cool, I'm increasing your appearance fee. And that was a good feeling. And we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to do that again for season 3 or what. I'm still debating it, but I like the idea that, like, when I do a draft guide. Now, that is something where I'm not a talented drafter, but I love draft. So I want to do draft guides because I love it and I want to support it. So I hire a very talented writer who is a pro Magic player, and they write it, and I help in production. Like, I'm a teacher, and I'm like, hey, this section maybe should be up here, or maybe we should start with this, or I don't think this is, I do it. I'm very good with the syllabus, but I consider that prestige. It doesn't get big views, my draft guides. Watch them, but I think they're really great stuff. I don't want to like break in a draft guide for an ad. I like to put the ads on videos like top 5 lists, things like that, deck text, things like that, and the product reviews. I don't think I'd usually want an ad in because it's a conflict. So now a product review like Is It Worth It to Buy might have an ad. I try and keep them off of that. Maybe a thing like a sleeve review or a deck box review. I don't want to mix people up. And so that probably, I don't think I've ever done an ad on one of those. I think sometimes if I'm talking about like the Commander deck, it's like, hey, check out this.
So it's a little loose though. There's some that's a judgment call. Some that's like this category I know for sure not.
I want to hire more people. So it's like, they're calling up and it's like, we can, help you expand your operation. Yeah. I just got my 4th person, and it's like, so before we get to Is It Worth It to Buy, let's talk about this for 90 seconds. Yeah. And it's not 3 minutes into the video until the content starts. I start with a funny intro, a funny opening, it's relevant, and then I do 90 seconds to 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's not like, I hate when people say 5 minutes before the video starts. I did a skit. I did a comedy bit at the beginning. That's content, baby.
Yeah, it's. I like hearing you talk about, though, your thinking and reasoning around the ads. Ours has been, we wanted to do the ads, obviously, for the reasons we've already enumerated, but our take was, try to make them entertaining. If they have to be there, I want to make them not like the worst thing in the world where you just want to bang your head against a wall when they play. So we have a whole team that they make the ads. They write them. You've seen them. They've got talking cards. We do sketches. We try and make them funny.
Yeah, even your ads are next level overproduced. Like, my God. But like, just be like, hey, everyone, now I want to take a minute to bring to you this great new service that you can use. Right. Are you having trouble finding cabbages? Well, now cabbage.com, if you use code TCC. You've got animations and crap and jokes. You have literal comedy writers on this. So
I have to pay some amount of the money we make from the ads to create the apparatus.
Snake eating its own tail.
That was our version of paying respect to our audience by saying, it's like you're saying, oh, well, in the middle of a draft guide, I don't want to have this thing break it up. And I'm like, in the middle of our content, I don't want to have these ads that just are soulless. I want it to be funny. I want it to be like...
you wouldn't want a soulless ad.
But I think both those two philosophies are fine. It's not like you're right or I'm right or we're wrong. We are both considering our audiences as we do the ads. That's all.
I try so desperately to lean in the opposite direction, but they won't let me. So the ad people do have to approve it. And early on, I was just always pushing for... I think it's hilarious when it's like, hi, everyone, I do want to tell you about this. And it's like... And they're like, dude, you got to... Oh, sorry.
You gotta bleep it.
Dude, you gotta put a little more oomph into it. But I think that's funny. I think that gets people watching more.
It's like Old Spice or something where, if you did a deadpan thing once in a while. If you do it all the time.
I also like that kind of comedy.
Yeah.
I like that kind of droll humor. So, like, that's what I gravitate towards.
So, wait, I gotta pause here.
Yeah.
The brands that you work with, they get approval over your ads?
Yeah, this is another thing. Yeah. I tried. They won't let me, dude. They won't let me. I don't have that. I don't have the Josh Lee Kwai swagger.
That might be the another hidden upside. I'm not saying ours is better than yours because I think both are valid. But our path of like producing them, because one thing we've been able to do is negotiate that out. They don't get to approve it. They give us a copy brief and it says like, here's the points and the CTA and the URL and everything, but we won't accept a brand deal where they're like, we have to show it to them before it goes on.
I have to show it to them. They almost, I honestly, aside from early on where I was really pushing for, I loved the idea of disinterested professor advertising, and early on they nixed that for the most part. There was a couple that got through, but I love that kind of humor. But nowadays I know how to do it, and I never get notes, but I do have to show it to them just in case.
But it's almost like a trivial thing where you send it and they
show it, and then I'm like, hurry up, guys, come on, I got to get this episode
that was a problem for us.
Yeah.
Is like we're often it's YouTube. You're the same way, I'm sure.
Yeah,
we're often finishing the video the night before it goes up, or sometimes like the morning of is like it's got to go up at 11. At 9 o'clock we're still doing stuff to it, and it's like, okay, we have just enough time to export and upload, and it will go up at 11. Yeah. So that's that. Yeah, I know. So Josh was the one who convinced me to run ads, and now Josh has had a few conversations with me about throwing my and to anybody that might be watching this video that has worked with me, the idea that Josh is telling me to throw my weight around more, you're probably going, what? But it's true. It's like, because I'm Don Draper, baby. I do crazy things. I love that for some of my ads, like the Card Kingdom ones especially, people have said, I can't believe they approved that, or that's a real one, because I'm just being like, well, that's an all right price, I guess. Yeah.
And it is. And it's like, but hey, go on over. And I am very stubborn in my own ways and very strong-willed, but Josh wants me to be more so.
That's right. I'm always encouraging you. I think you can throw your weight around more.
He's the beast, man.
I wish you could tell everybody that I'm the one that convinced you to do ads, because now they're gonna be like, it's your fault. They already yell at me about ads, But remember, I'm also the guy that said, hey, pay everybody. Yeah. So those two things,
not just pay everyone well. You're not giving out candy bars on Halloween. You're giving out full-sized candy bars.
I mean, I love what you said about like, hey, I got more money through the Kickstarter than I thought, and what I didn't. Just like, oh, goody, I get that. I said, I'm increasing percentage-wise the amount that we're paying people, and we do the same things.
I loved being able to say that, because I was actually, so I have a philosophy now that's called high score, and high score is a thing where you don't, in a video game with a high score, really get anything in the video game from it, but you want to get that high score. I hit my point where, given my income as a college professor, I had that set up through YouTube, and I'm doing better than that these days, but I have a middle class aspiration sort of thing, which helps too. I've got my little thing taken care of, and so all of this is high score. It's like, I'm going to be able to pay my guests, and I'm going to be able to pay them more, and I'm going to be able to have these people in the office on their nice editing computers doing new things, and I view that as high score. It's like, I want to be able to increase people's pay. I want to be able to give people raises. I want to be able to do those things, and I view that as, that's my goal. That's my thing. I want, God forbid, I want to be able to offer comprehensive benefits to my workers and things like that. I want to do that and get there, and that isn't me. That's my high score, and so that's the way I view it. And for me, in season 1, while we were flying everyone out and paying them appearance fee, I wasn't happy with the appearance fee. I was like a little with that, and it was still, it's huge when you picture 3 guests, because I don't have a co-host, man. And so it's like 3 guests out for an episode, and it adds up. But I was so happy where, because of that, I was able to bring it to what I think is a much more reasonable amount, and then we'll see what the future holds. But those are my goals, and I think also go ahead.
Well, I think I love that. It speaks to your integrity, though, right? Like that was your first thought.
I learned it from you, Dad.
I think you had that in you, and I think we just share that as a piece of us from before we met each other. But I love hearing you say it. I love that you said it. I hope people out there will be like, man, I want to be like Prof, because Yeah,
I want to be like Josh.
It's a great thing, man.
I mean, in terms of business and creation, maybe not in terms of Commander. Well, actually, out of the two of us, you probably do want to be more like Josh than Prof.
I don't know.
We'll see.
You're pretty fun to play with, though, because you never know what the hell's going to happen.
Yeah. That's true.
With
I'm a
me,
wild
you
card.
kind of know. Yeah, I'm going to draw a lot of cards.
But I also think creators listening, one thing I do also want to say is remember that we're able to do this because we have been very fortunate to build this. And I feel that because I'm a big supporter of the whole content creation community. I believe in that very strongly. And I know there's a lot of people, if you're not making money, you should not be feeling like, oh, well, I had such and such, come and collab with me and come on my stream or something. It's like, I don't make any money off of this. That's not where it's like, well, I should be looking into how I can, pay an appearance fee for a collab on a stream. It's not that. It's if you start making money and then other people are working with you to make you that money, they deserve some of that money. That's what it is. It's not, oh, well, I was going to stream Commander gameplay and invite people to come on and do an episode with me, but I don't have hundreds of dollars to give all of them. Well, then don't do that and create that. But if you start profiting and that is based off of other people's work, that's where you have to do the thing and say, I need to make sure that the people who are helping me make that money are also getting money as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think it'd be easy to listen to us talk about it at the position we're at after years and years of work.
10 plus years.
Yeah, just saying like, oh, we pay people and think that like, hey, listen, if you're just starting out with your show, whatever it is, whatever kind of content you're creating, that like it is necessary for you to pay out of pocket because the video is bringing in $0.
Yeah.
That's not what we're
don't spend money you don't have.
There's something in the entertainment industry that's pretty standard that I think most people don't know about, and they call it, I think, the Favored Nations Clause.
Oh, I don't know that one.
So the Favored Nations Clause is, I might screw it up, but you'll get the idea here. It's when a person is going to come and do something, and they are at their normal rate would be at a rate that just doesn't make sense for the project. So it allows somebody like Post Malone, let's say, to come on a little YouTube channel about Magic the Gathering.
Right.
And by the way, Posty took no money. Wouldn't allow us to pay him, but
you wouldn't be able to afford him.
Yeah, but there's no
whatever his rate for something like that would be.
It's crazy.
It would be more than this warehouse.
Yeah, exactly. So this doesn't apply to him. I'm just using him as an example. Someone like him could say, "Hey, listen, I'll do it. It looks fun. I like your whatever. I'm obviously not in it for the money, but I would like to get paid at least equal to what anybody on it's getting paid."
Well, yeah.
Right? So then I'm not getting taken advantage of.
Right.
So I don't learn later that like I took $0 as a favor to do this thing and you paid somebody else $1,000 to be on it. At least $1,000 still way below what I would make.
Yeah.
But I just want to make the equivalent of whoever the most money somebody's making on it is.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that is a good thing to know about for creators out there. So, hey, everybody's making $0. Really easy. Cool. Everybody's
no
making
problem.
$0.
We're doing this for fun and for like the idea that maybe we can help grow it and have a good time.
But hey, we're paying this person $25 or something. Well, then you probably should pay. Yeah, exactly. And that's commensurate. And then you can get to the level eventually where you do pay people on a scale according to sort of their value in the marketplace. And I think...
Not me. I really like that if I have someone big on and I have someone you've never heard of on, they both take home the same pay from me.
And I think that makes sense at our level. Even you and I are not at the level yet where we can pay commensurate to the marketplace. But if you're a movie...
Oh, yeah, sure.
Right? If you're Mission Impossible 5, it really doesn't make sense that Tom Cruise would make the same as like somebody who says 2 lines in the movie. And so you do start to get towards that. And I think we've worked on commercials and stuff for entities where there's a certain budget and we do need to pay people commensurate with their value in the marketplace.
Yeah, sure.
And you're working towards that. So on this sliding scale of like everyone's collabing, nobody's making anything, everyone's making a little bit, favored nations. Okay, now we start to pay everybody the same amount, and then you're up here with commensurate to your value in the marketplace. We're all on this journey. And I think for creators to understand that is a journey and figure out, realistically where you are, and then that will kind of tell you, because if you're down here, don't worry about it. That stuff. But as you start to move up, you should start to think like, okay, X amount of dollars are going to be made on this thing. What some of it should go to the performers.
I worry about, we have such awesome, I really love our community. I love all the different content that gets made in our community. And I worry about someone who might naturally be watching this and aspiring just as I aspire to you. And they might be aspiring to us. And then start to feel like, oh, wow, when I call up such and such other people to do this, I don't pay them maybe, but I don't want anyone to feel like that's in the wrong. What we're getting at is once you do make money, if yours is and that doesn't even have to do with guests. If you're making money and then you want someone to do art for you, then you're profiting.
Yep.
Then they get something.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what it is. It's like you don't get to hoard it all to yourself. Like, ha, it's my pile, and yes, come on my show, make my art for me. You get nothing, and all that sponsor money goes to me. Like that's just no. Don't do that.
You know what's a really helpful, I find, to be mindset in these situations when you're not sure how to act too, is to just be very transparent and open. Yeah. I think there's a lot of issues people have with not knowing what's right and being scared to therefore even say what it is. For instance, when we did our token series, we always do this. When we do our token series for game nights, I would contact Prof. We did the Merfolk for you. And I'm very open. I say, hey, listen, we want to do tokens of the game nights guests, and I'm going to sell them for profit. And I would like permission to use your likeness.
Right.
And I have no budget here to pay you for that use of likeness.
Right, because you're using it to generate budget in that.
But basically the money.
But did you pay the artist?
Paid the artist, for sure.
That's great. But you may use my I asked for a pack of tokens.
Yeah, and I said, I'll give you 100 tokens, and this is really the way we pay appearance fees and things like that. Like, it's one of the things that goes in that pot, right?
Yeah.
But I'm very, very clear, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying I am going to sell these tokens for a profit, and I'm asking for your likeness. And if you don't want to give it under those circumstances, no worries. Like, we're still best friends. Like, this is just an ask I'm going to make, but there's no pressure on you here.
Yeah, and I mean, again, when I guest on someone's stream who is not someone who has a whole business or something, I'm not like, well, my appearance fee is this. It's like, yeah, cool, I get it. But if you grow to a point where suddenly, like you said, it isn't even about the money, but it's like, oh, you're paying all of them, but then you just, like that.
Yeah, like in that case, I would say, like, it'd be pretty great, honestly, to get those emails and be like, hey, could you do this? I don't have any money for appearance fee. No one's making money on this project.
Yeah.
Great.
Fine. I love supporting that stuff. I really do.
If they're open about that part of it right at the beginning, I'm like, this person is a straight shooter who I think is probably I'm more likely to want to be involved with. It's somebody that kind of obfuscates that part of it. And I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, like, I love going to local game stores, like small local game stores for their events. There was this one that was throwing a popper, like 1K or something like that. I'm like, oh, I love it. And they're like, we can get you a plane ticket. And I'm like, that's great. That's really nice of you. There we go, flew out and got to participate in it. It was great fun helping this local store that had a real vibrant community. I absolutely love that. That's really different than if giant, company that puts on giant events that, wants to put you in their commercials and sell tickets based on you being there. I've got, to one, it's like, hey, that's really nice of you to offer the plane tickets, and versus, okay, well, let's talk about what my rate is, because you're making, those are two different entities.
Yeah, you're leveraging this for a multi-billion-dollar business sometimes.
And I get card stores that are like, oh, well, we couldn't possibly, and I'm like, you're not expected to. You're not, insert giant company name that we all know, like sort of thing. Like, you're not them. They get that bill, not you, and there's different. That's what I really like. And in a lot of ways, too, what is beautiful is the big company is what allows me to go to the little company.
Exactly.
The fact that the big company is like, yeah, well, we're putting you in our commercials. We'll give you an appearance fee. That's what lets me then go to Mom and Joe's local game store and be like, yeah, let's get some games in this weekend.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, no problem, man.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I love that thinking. All right.
So you never finished up. You are so reluctant. You are so reluctant.
Wait, what else is left?
Just
I messed up.
I feel like you messed up.
Up.
He's so timid about it. Look, here's the thing. Make sure your Patreon is up to date for Command Zone.
Oh, yeah.
Like Patreon just did this thing where a lot of people got disconnected. We lost. Make sure Patreon is up to date for me.
Patreon.
Like we lost,
what are you doing,
15,
Patreon?
They literally kicked about 10 to 15% of people off needlessly, and people think they're still supporting us, and they're not. We all got a 10 to 15% cut.
Well, and
please
that-
make sure if you're supporting us on Patreon that you're supporting us on Patreon. And if you're not, know that your money goes to fuel cool things.
I mean, on the Patreon thing, not to get off in the weeds, which I keep derailing us. December, I don't know about for you. I'm sure it is for everybody. Like November and December are tough months because people they have holidays and they've got a lot of expenditures and extra, taxes, extra, pressure on their finances during those times. And so that tends to be a time when, and I don't blame anybody, right? Like anybody out there who's supporting us on Patreon, any of us, it should never be a financial burden. We're entertainment. We're a luxury item.
Yeah.
If you got to
I'm happy with $1.
Yeah,
I really am because it adds up. Because if you've got thousands of people, that's like great. That
if everybody watched gave $1, that will be all we need for
my
sure.
percentage of patrons versus subscribers is about it's like 2% of my subscribers are on Patreon.
Yeah, I think we're about the same.
And I'm very grateful for them. But
our patrons are awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, because they are.
I like the community. We are able to grow a big Discord community from it, and that's one of the things you have access to.
Yeah, because you guys, you facilitate all kinds of activities.
We have. I'm able to that Patreon money. We have paid mods in our Discord helping with the spell table games of Commander and other non-Commander formats. You get a little modern over at Tolarian Community College. You get a little Popper and Pioneer over at Tolarian Community College. But I'm like, well, we got to have paid mods, and I got to pay my mods. Well, there we go. And that's what that money helps to grow too. That's those sort of cool things.
Yeah. So November, December always dips because of the holidays and everything. And then on top of, let's just be real, right? Patreon's been kind of a mess. And
they booted people off that want. Imagine there's 10% of these people that want to help you, and Patreon's like, get lost.
And in a lot of cases, some of them don't even know they got told
because
to
you're
get
like,
lost.
oh yeah, I've got an auto thing. I give the prof $5 a month.
Yeah,
and then it's just like, oh
I don't
wait,
check that email every day.
No, yeah, it's like, wait, what do you mean I haven't been giving them $5 a month because Patreon did this dumb stuff? Thank you, Patreon.
And Patreon, I think, is just declining overall. I know their company valuation dropped by 80%, I think 2 years ago. So it's a little bit rocky waters as far as the Patreon is concerned. Let's be real. So I'm hopeful that come January, people start to get they start to pay off the Christmas gifts and everything. Yeah. They start to come back. We appreciate everybody that supports us. But yeah, definitely, definitely that is another little little punch in the side. Yeah,
I think Josh is being very timid to say it, so I'll just say it. Oftentimes, you look at it and you look at this big giant Patreon. You look at it, get a Kickstarter for cool merch that goes really high. You look at all these ads and you think they're doing fine, and they're not in trouble or anything. But just remember, there's all of this on the other side of this camera that you're not seeing. And if you do like that content is here in this community, know that your money isn't just going in this guy's pocket. That when all of this or other cool things get sold on Whatnot, it's just being shoveled into the giant furnace that is keeping the Command Zone machine going. And I think that's an important thing for people to remember.
And if you support TCC or any of the other content creators out there too. I think
anyone, I
think all of us are there's nobody in Magic, because we would know that is not in that situation where it helps a lot. We have just a little bit of support.
We have a great community.
Oh, we have an amazing community.
Remember how lucky we are to have that community.
Yeah. We have an amazing community.
Yeah.
Our our MTG community is amazing. And
wow, he just went to refer to Magic the Gathering and used the word commander. Yeah. You heard it here. Don't edit that out.
We are the Command Zone.
There's other ways to play Magic, Josh Lee Kwai.
You'll have to introduce.
Come to TCC for draft videos, modern videos, Popper videos.
Do you have any timeless videos on there?
When I get you on my gameplay series, we're going to do something that isn't Commander. Okay. Come watch Josh. We'll draft something.
Okay, well, I like draft. Yeah,
we'll do a draft.
Okay, deal. Our content creator community is amazing. Our overall community is amazing. So we just want to I just want to cap that off by saying any support is great.
Let's end with this.
Okay.
What's next for Josh Lee Kwai? What's next for the Command Zone? Where are you going next? This was the big thing. When the dust settles on this, and it will, my friend. When the dust settles on this, what's your next big fish?
I mean, it's hard to see through all the dust at the moment. I think we need a new piece of content. We've had game nights, we've had externs, we've had the podcast for a long time. You in the last couple of years started doing Shuffle Up and Play, which I know has been a huge what?
I want to tell him. I took him out to dinner and asked him permission, and he says to me, I said I got bit by the gameplay bug. I said I want to tell you that, and he immediately goes, "Dude, I don't own gameplay like this." Like he's just incredulous that I would be. I'm like, but I wanted to let you know because you were the innovator of high quality gameplay, and now I've got bit by that bug, and I just wanted to let you know that I've got this idea that I want to make happen. And I just will never forget the way he was like, "Dude, I don't own gameplay." Like, just like, what the hell? But I just wanted to share that moment.
And that is a good example of how integrity can go too far. Because, no, I mean, listen, we're friends, and I appreciate you saying that. And you have done some really cool, innovating things with Shuffle Up and Play, and it's been super successful. It's been so great to watch you rise. And I like to say I told you so because I was very like in support of it, and like you should do it and you have to do it, and like you're crazy not to do it, and I know you took a long time to develop it, which is
we spent as long as you spent getting into this warehouse figuring out how to, because if I wanted to do it, but like you should have seen our pilot episodes, and we spent a year
They're
plus.
scrapped episodes from early on with different tech that they were trying to figure out the tech to like really be able to zoom very far into the board and still be able to read the card. You did a lot of really, really cool stuff, and you've pushed the format forward in your own way as well. So I appreciate that. It puts, good kind of pressure and tension on us. I love having other people out there doing cool stuff that keeps us on our heels so that we hear like, hey, listen, they're doing awesome stuff. We got to keep doing stuff. So I don't remember how we even got into this part of the conversation. But
you said that I came up with the new series, so you want to do a new series because I did a new series and it breathed life into my creative juices, and you're looking towards that. So what is that new?
Well, that's
you can't share. You can't. You've got ideas cooking. I know
we definitely have ideas cooking, and I don't think we've landed on exactly one yet. And I think we've floated things before about like maybe it's a scripted sort of sitcom style series. Yeah. There's one thing you've been able to do, we only do Commander content, but maybe what could it be something outside Commander? That's a possibility. What do you got that look on your face? What do you got?
It's a scripted sitcom about everybody plays Magic, and it's about how how like on Friday nights you're just playing Magic, and Friday nights it's a sitcom about Magic. This is a great idea for you to do. Yeah,
maybe Thursday nights.
Thursday nights.
Yeah, we should say Loading Ready Run is bringing back Friday nights.
Yes, I'm here because of Friday nights.
Yeah,
I would never have started my YouTube channel if it wasn't for. So I was a Loading Ready Run fan. And I loved them, and when I got back into Magic, they got it back into Magic at the same time. And when they made Friday nights, I obsessed over it, and I was like, I need to make Magic content.
Yeah.
And stuff.
They're really the OGs.
They are.
In that respect. And they're bringing back the show. Wizards supported it for a while, sponsored it. I think they're self-financing this time.
Yep.
We'll put the link in the show notes. I think you'll still be able to get involved. Yeah, highly recommend supporting it. They make awesome content. Yeah. I think,
I keep interrupting you.
No, that's great. It's great. And I think... Yeah, whatever it is, whatever, and we haven't made any decisions yet, I think a new marquee piece of content out of us is sort of, it's been overdue. And I think because we've been so focused for the last 2 years on, expanding our space and sort of getting our behind the camera stuff in order and all the pitfalls with that, then now I'm hopeful we settle, like you said, the dust settles, and we can really bear down, focus on the creative once again, which I think we've done cool stuff in the last couple of years, but it hasn't been 100% of our focus like I think it can be now that we're finally here. So
it's nice to be in a position where you're worrying about how to be innovative in creativity and production versus worrying about getting permits for a warehouse, or getting out of a lease that shouldn't have been signed, and things like that. Like that's great to have the headspace devoted to it. Yeah, and I'll give you this gift. Game Daze, but it's spelled D-A-Z-E. Game Daze, D-A-Z-E.
Yeah, and it's the art for the Vacation Days.
Yes.
With the birds.
It's you and Jimmy and Rachel all doing that outstretched thing, and it's like a pack of Magic cards or something, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you heard it here first, everybody.
Make it happen. Leave a comment about what new innovative, creative endeavor Josh and the team should do next.
Or Prof. He's always looking for ideas.
I'll read the comments.
Yeah. All right. I appreciate you talking to me, Prof. And hopefully everybody out there got some from it. It was kind of meandering, but I think I always love our conversations, and we should probably record them more often. This is something you've been saying for years, so I know. There's the I told you so.
People like our meandering conversations.
I hope so. All right. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you later. All right. Well, so I hope you enjoyed that conversation.
Good job, Prof. You won the game. Oh, wait, that's not what we're doing here?
Yeah, that's a different show.
Shucks. Okay.
Yeah, it's always fun to talk to the Prof. He's always very sort of open and candid about, and I think that's one of the things that I've always admired him for is that he always just turns the camera and talks to the audience. And we usually have topics and we're talking about the game more. We don't really get to sort of talk about the behind the scenes much. So that was fun.
Yeah, I think the transparency is a huge reason why the community can trust people like the Prof, and also why we love the community is because we get to talk to them and have these conversations. That's why I love our Discord and Patreon.
Yeah.
We get asked candid questions there all the time, and we really don't have the venue to answer those questions elsewhere. And on Discord, it feels great because people are here because they want to support the show, and so we also want to support the questions that they ask.
Yeah. So if you liked an episode like this, let us know. I'd say a couple of times a year we're able to sort of do an episode like this, and so it's always fun. Before we go, I wanted to do an end step, Jimmy.
Oh, nice.
Because at the beginning of this episode, we were singing.
Go.
Yeah, so I think we have to talk about Dune 2.
Yes, Dune 2, Dune-ageddon.
It's incredible, right?
Yes. Someone posted on Twitter that I never got to see Empire Strikes Back in theater, but I bet this is what it felt like. Yeah, and I'm there's elements of that. I'm like, yeah, I know what they mean.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the last movie that I think was as good as Dune 2. Yeah. And what I came up with was The Matrix.
1999, by the way. That's 25 years ago. Quarter of a decade.
And I know Lord of the Rings came out between then and now.
A century, sorry.
But I actually do think Dune 2 is probably better than any singular Lord of the Rings movie. Probably not as good as all that trilogy.
All three together, yeah.
But that's not a fair comparison. I do think the first Dune movie was good, but not on the level that the second one is, which is amazing because going in, I've read the book, obviously, a couple of times, although not in 20 years. The second part of the book is a lot harder to do than the first part. So I was thinking, no way they stick this landing.
Right. But Denis is the director is a huge fan of the books,
right?
Knows them inside and out, and made a lot of small changes here and there that made it into a movie. And that distinction of knowing what to do. Some movies are hey, let's make The Hobbit into 3 movies. That's a bad idea.
Yeah.
In this case, it's let's make Dune into 2. And it was really well done. It was just like a masterclass. If you are anyone that's interested in film or acting or design, any of that, you can watch this movie and come away with really amazing insight.
Yeah, just visually stunning. The sound and the sound mix is insane. You have to see it in a theater.
Meticulously crafted.
Yeah, did some really smart things in the adaptation. I agree. There's book people, and I am one of them, who miss some things, but actually the decisions make sense, if you understand filmmaking. Because one of the things I think that would make the second book so hard to do in a movie is the passage of time in the second half of the book. Sorry, the second half of the book is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know the story, and I don't think there's anything spoilery just because if you've seen the movie, you've seen it. If you haven't, you haven't. But the sister ages a certain amount. She actually gets born.
Right.
Jessica has a daughter in the book that is born and ages to I want to say 5 or 6.
Yeah, that's a 5-year period of time. Yeah. So
the passage of time is really hard to cover in a movie like that.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's a jump. It's kind of jarring.
People all have to look different out, look at different stages and things like that. Yeah. And so what they did is they just took that passage of time out. They truncated it down so that it all happens before the baby's even born.
So it feels like just a continuous story.
Yeah.
Great.
I thought that one change made the whole thing easier to pull off. And when I realized that's what they were doing, somewhere in the middle, I'm like,
oh wow.
Oh, the baby's not going to be born, is it?
Yeah.
And I was at first my book brain was well, but my movie brain was oh, that's so smart. It's so good. It's so clean. Yeah. I don't have to worry about it. So there was other smart decisions. That's not the only change, obviously, from the book. But I just thought, it's an incredible movie.
You're walking into a dream almost. Every single shot and scene, the way it's crafted, you're just wow. I don't even want to think. I can just be really present in this moment, watching and feeling what's happening, which is amazing for a film to do that.
Yeah, I felt like it was almost like it just washed over me.
Yeah.
I leaned back and I just let the movie wash.
And almost always as film insiders, every movie is what'd they do there? Oh, is that where these extras aren't there? There's something that your brain weird. Is just chunking into. In this case, it's no, just enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really, really good. I don't think any movie's perfect. There's little things that I think that I, obviously.
Watch the first movie as well if you haven't before you watch the second, I would say.
But it is incredible. One of the great pieces of cinema that's been created for sure in the last 20 years or so.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, so definitely can't highly recommend it enough.
What else can we not recommend enough? That's right, sponsors. Segway Man! There was a Segway in Dune too. That was so weird when that popped in. I was like, what is that doing there? But it was just Paul Blart Mall Cobb. CardKingdom.com/command is the place to go if you want to recreate a sandworm convergence of your own.
Oh, nice.
That's right. You can buy cards from Card Kingdom. You can sell cards to them from their buy list. And you can also pre-order stuff, the cards, singles, sealed product that you want from upcoming sets or stuff that's already been released. A lot of really sweet Commander stuff that came out in MKM as well as Fallout. Coming up, we got Thunder Junction, Bloomborough, you name it, cardkingdom.com/command. They're the place that we trust for our own collections as well as delivering cards for our stuff like Game Nights Live. They have a huge inventory of all the cards, including different conditions and all that. So make sure you use that affiliate link when you go shop for your cards next because you're also supporting the show. So that is cardkingdom.com/command.
And of course, once you pick up those cards or, just cards in your current collection, you want to keep them protected, right? You want them to stay in pristine condition.
Yes.
ULTRAPRO.
Not filled with sand.
Yeah, not filled with sand. You want to protect it from sand, right? Like if you're going to surf on a sandworm, you better put your cards into ULTRAPRO sleeves and deck boxes before you get on the back of that thing.
I bet a satin tower could survive.
Oh, for sure.
A sandworm.
I would have no problem putting my deck in a satin tower, inside of whatever those little those little bags that they have while they're surfing the sandworm. I guarantee it would be fine at the end of it. Yeah, we should test that at some point. Yeah, ULTRAPRO really does make the stuff that Jimmy and I trust our own collections to our own cards too, and that is the highest praise that we can give to anything, right? We literally use this product and have for years. So if you go to ultrapro.com/command, you can not only find the stuff you're looking for to protect your cards, but also they have all kinds of deals on their website all the time. So you might just randomly come across, something that is 20, 30, 40, 50% off. So you can find really good deals. You can sign up for their newsletter and they can let you know about when those deals are happening, or you can just go to the page once in a while and sort of hit refresh and see what's there.
Yeah, it's an incredible way to do, to get the stuff that you need for your collection.
And before we go, we keep talking about this, but I want to hit it again, which is we are giving away a guest spot on Extra Turns.
That's right.
Yep, on Whatnot on March 27th.
Yep, it's we've been doing a lot of streams on Whatnot. They're a ton of fun. This time around, not only can you win a bunch of free stuff that we'll be giving away through the episode, but you can also win a spot on Extra Turns. We will fly you out to Los Angeles. You get a battle for glory in the studio with your own deck. Pretty sweet opportunity.
Yep, if you ever dreamed of being on the show, this is going to be your chance. So March 27th, again, on Whatnot.
All right.
Well, thanks everybody for watching. And
time to go watch Dune again for me.
The first one?
Yeah, both, I think.
Yeah, I don't watch movies twice in the theater, but I think I'm going to go see Dune 2 a second time in the theater.
I'm going to watch Dune 1 on the big screen. It's the biggest screen I can find, and I'm going to go right into Dune 2 again, I think. Just to make it feel like the full experience.
I think the last movie I saw a second time in theaters was The Matrix.
Wow!
Yeah, so...
It's just like The Matrix as written.
Hopefully Dune Messiah is not like The Matrix 2 and 3.
Oh, Lord. Let's not talk about that. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. We will see you next time. Peace out.
Thank you for your attention. For further inquiries, send an email to commandcast@rocketjump.com or ask us on Twitter @JFWong and @JoshLeeQuai. See you later, alligator.
Greetings, humans.